Ain't no way. Ain't no way I've been talking to myself for like 10 minutes. There's no way. We're running we running the intro one more time. I don't even. We're running the intro one more time. There's no way I've been talking to myself the whole time. That's crazy. Bro, oh my god. Freaking StreamYard, dude. If you start the stream, it doesn't automatically add you to the stage. Like, why would I not want to be on stage? Of course I want to talk. I'm the only one in here. Oh my word, I gotta repeat. Anyways. Oh my, okay. Anyways, everyone who said good morning, I greeted y'all with a damn smile. Mr. G, Plaza, happy that you got your first spot back. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Machi Swag Jones, happy to have you guys back. Don, good morning. San, top of the day. Good to see you, Suli. Usta Ace, Sunday. Thank you, Bruce, for letting me know. Everyone for letting me know. Happy Sunday, Tommy, JB, thanks for tuning in. Hyper, Brandon. I'm not still in Sapling, no. I think the chart looks pretty good, but I don't really have interest in getting back in that one personally. Thought you was rude not speaking. Oh my gosh. I was going off about the damn Witcher, dude. The Witcher show, about how season 1 I think is pretty good. Hold on, let me get off this. How does the stream show just the stream? Or is it showing the? Oh my gosh, like zoomed out. What in the hell? There we go. Hold. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to go back to OBS. Anyway, just saying that the Witcher TV show is decent. I think Henry Cavill's acting is fantastic, but they totally butchered it. They just totally butchered it. The writers just. Yeah, you just can't trust Hollywood to do anything right from video games. I mean, you just cannot. You just cannot at all. I mean, it's just. You look at The Witcher, you look at Halo. I mean, I heard Mario was decent, but like, just stop making video games into shows and movies. They just don't work. Goodness gracious. Anyways, as I was saying earlier, happy Sunday to all you guys. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are. I can't remember where I got that line from, but I'm definitely getting deja vu. Anyway, it's got a couple hours here. Should be a pretty good stream. If you guys are viewing me, wherever you're viewing me, please like, retweet, whatever you do, whichever platform you're watching on. I would appreciate it. And yeah, let's get into it. So I'm thinking we will do a typical top-down on BTC. You guys know the drill there. Maybe we'll look at Ethereum, because Ethereum's starting to push pretty nicely. ETH BTC bottom seems to be into me. We'll look at some of the fan favorite high caps, and we'll look at Solana, look at Stacks. Maybe Uni is worth looking at. X-Populous looks pretty good. You know, just some of the kind of popular ones right now. And then we'll get into shitcoins. Obviously, Welsh Corgi is looking very good. Factorn's been looking good. Base has been looking pretty good. Chlor. And then, you know, we've got infinite number of shitcoins we can look at. All look quite similar. And then some ordinal stuff. Then, yeah, we'll try to get out of here in maybe like 2 hours or something like that. NMT family in the house? Absolutely, dude. I'm so glad I did not middle curve and I bought the dip. I think I pretty much bought the bottom at like 260. I missed the actual lows. The actual lows were these candles. I bought in here. I bought some up here, some up here. So my average is actually not that good. My average is definitely above $3. Probably something like in here. So, I mean, it's not that bad. Have this average. It's not that bad. It's not great. I could have had an average like down here, but I just kind of got a little bit impatient on this first bounce. But that's okay. But anyways, we'll have time to look at that. Let's go ahead and nice 4-hour candle. Let's go ahead and do a top down. Yeah, Plaza, this is public stream, I think. Anyone here from public? I should be public on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter. Should have a bunch of sources here. Pretty sure this is public. I think I was supposed to do public last week. I've been trying to do it every like 2 weeks, but I might have forgot. It was either Wednesday or last Sunday I was supposed to do it. I can't remember, but anyways, once or twice a month. That's what I'm gonna do for the public, guys. But we do twice a week in Blockcircle. If you guys like these streams, happy to have you. All right, now I know we're gonna have a lot of questions on shitcoins, but I'm gonna try and get through this top down on Bitcoin, and then we can address any other things you guys want to look at. Again, more try to focus on strategy, execution, game plan than just specific coins, but of course we'll look at any coins that we got time to look at. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Let's go on regular. I guess we don't need the... Yeah, we'll throw up the EMAs. Why not? Let's do Bitstamp. Okay. So looking at the monthly, Bitcoin looks better than ever. Two of my favorite indicators to use are the commodity channel index, the CCI, or the RSI. Both are very similar momentum indicators. I prefer the CCI, to each their own. And right now, I would say it's bullish to neutral. Bullish in that we're trending above the 0 line and momentum is rising. And then neutral because currently our momentum tick for February is directly in line with January. So still bullish. We're not falling, right? What we don't want to see is a decrease in momentum. That tends to be, we'll just do logarithmic. It's so much easier to see everything. A decrease in momentum tends to coincide with a bigger picture pullback. As you can see, pretty much every time momentum tops out on the monthly, we get some form of a deeper pullback. Right, and then here, 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 and here. So pretty much every monthly ever on Bitcoin, if you have momentum rising like this and it rolls over, you're in for a bad time, at least for a month or two. Sometimes for a lot longer, but so that's something we want to keep our eyes on. Again, this is the commodity channel index. The RSI is the same thing. Yours might not look like this because mine is on, well, this is a custom indicator, but also I keep mine on a histogram. Most RSIs, CCIs will look like this. It's the same thing, but I think it's a bit easier to visualize the fall and rise if you're using a histogram because you get actual tick levels. So that's something to watch out for. We don't want to see a tick like, say, like this for the next month, right? We'd like that to stay in an uptrend. So ideally something like this. Okay, it's not the end all be all, right? But that's what we ideally want to see. And then likewise on our slow stochastic, we're a bit overextended. 9 times out of 10, you want to be a better buyer down here and a better seller up here. But as we've seen in crypto, you're not always going to get a perfect ebb and flow like this. A lot of times you're going to go down and you're going to go up and you're going to stay up for basically the entire run. Sometimes you do get a nice ebb and flow, and then sometimes, it's a bit silly to just exit because, oh, we're overbought. And then you stay overbought all the way through the bull run. S&Ps are notorious for this. You get overbought at the start of a big move. I mean, back here, you're overbought in August 2016, and you stayed that way and ran straight up through March 2018. And then you kept going another 6 months after that, even during the cycle down. So we don't give too much weight to whether something is overbought or oversold on our stochastic, but in general, you want to be the most aggressive on the buy side down here and the most aggressive on the sell side up here. So when this does finally roll over, whether we get this left translated cycle, we rally at the end of the year and then roll over, whether we have some kind of mid-year pullback and then cycle back up into 2025, either way, when that starts to come down hard, you're going to want to be a better seller. All right? Just keep it simple. What's up, Logan? Happy Sunday, brother. Doing absolutely splendid. Pray the same for you, my friend. And then aside from indicators, just strictly looking at price action, I mean, things look absolutely amazing. All of our EMAs are still rising, and we're now getting some really good distance between the 8 EMA and the 60. That's what you really want to see, as opposed to, earlier this year, there's a lot more uncertainty in the market. We did not have much distance. But when you really start to expand, like we do at pretty much the start of every bull market, we go from being kind of tight in here to this big expansion between the 8 EMA and the 60. That is when things really start to heat up, right? Like in here, big expansion. And we're finally starting to see that for the first time since, last time we had this much distance between our monthly EMAs was, back in 2022. So EMAs are looking good. We're trending above all of them. They're all rising. I would expect this 8 EMA to be support now on any kind of deeper pullback. So I would not honestly expect to be back below 40K. Maybe ever again. Maybe we wick below it, a very quick intra-monthly pullback. But, if we start going much higher, I really don't think that's going to be in the cards. So far, where's my price tool? Here we go. So far, every pullback, which we'll see more on the weekly, has been about 20% max for the last 15 months. And again, it's kind of hard to time exactly where these pullbacks are, but it's 20% there, 20% here. Come on, about 20% here. And then this pullback during this month was about 20% as well. So much higher. And it's not that we can pull back more than 20%. It's not like it's a set in stone kind of thing, but there's clearly a large amount of demand on any moderately significant dip. And, when you're a crypto boy, significant dip's like 50%, right? That's what everyone wants. I want to see 30K. I want to see 35K. Give me a good dip. The dip of the dip, as we sometimes call it. But these institutions, TradFi guys, they get a 20% dip on something they're long billions of dollars of. They're just going to scoop. And we just saw it, really, not to zoom in too quickly, but we really just saw it on this recent consolidation, right? Anytime it dipped, ETFs are just scooping it up so quickly, Or actually, I'm retarded. That's not what I meant to point out. This consolidation, sorry. Anytime we dip, ETFs are just scooping it up. So, if we go much higher, say, I think the general idea is either we're going to keep chopping in this range for a bit, into the early middle of March, or these higher lows here are going to maintain and we will expand to 55K or something, which I definitely lean more towards this option. We ran the highs, we ran the lows, which again, if you guys are in Blockcircle, this was pretty much my call that we're going to run the highs and then the lows, and then we're going to go to 55K. Here we are. At that point, a 20% dip doesn't even get us to 40K. You'd have to get almost a 30% dip at that point to see under 40K again. So kind of starting to believe we might not ever see under 40K again. I wouldn't bet the farm on it or anything. I'm not going to go out and be a hero, as I like to say, but don't be surprised if we don't see that level again, especially if we can close a monthly candle like we've got right now. At best, we run the lows of the monthly candle. And, We might not even do that. I think last bull market we did it one time at the start with this monthly candle low. We ran the lows of that. Every monthly candle after that was untapped the entire way up until it was basically over. And then in 2017, I think it happened maybe twice. After the Bitcoin halving, we ran a monthly candle low and almost ran it there, but we didn't. We ran it here after the new all-time high, and we ran it here. So what? 1, 2, 3 times in 2017 we ran a previous monthly candle's low. 1, 2, 3. But that was pretty much the local bottom every time. And always good to take these things with a grain of salt. We only have 2 cycles to go off of. It's not like, let's not pretend just, oh, it didn't happen in 2017 or 2021, so this can't happen this time. No, we're not going to think that way. But in general, the point I'm trying to make here really is that low 40Ks probably going to be pretty good support. Really good chance of that. Last month, this Teal 8 EMA came up from 35 to 39K, about 4,000. So by that same estimate, that support will be right around 44,000. Lines up with our weekly EMAs, all starting to rise up as well. Once those catch up, I mean, that's going to be your best bet at a higher low if we even go that low. So, we'll see. I do think it's pretty amazing that we've cleared this resistance with basically nothing more than, I mean, what's it been like? I mean, really nothing. We rejected from it here, and then we spent barely a month below it, and now we rip right through it. And I can see people already, deviation. It's gonna be a deviation. I mean, maybe, but I think it's just as likely we just keep going up from here. I mean, there's no sign of this trend breaking down whatsoever, and I don't see any resistance basically back to the all-time high. Maybe you could meme in like one more resistance here. We had this one right here, which is now possibly going to be support. I guess we'll leave that green for now. And then maybe you could count this one like right here. Right, you had these little itty bitty lower highs, little lower high here and a little lower high here. So maybe that's significant. I don't know. If this only took 30 days to get through, though, I can't imagine this would stop us for that long. And above there, I mean, until you zoom in, it's basically just air back into the all-time high. Maybe we stop 55K, maybe we go straight to 60. I mean, who really knows, right? But essentially all that's left, this whole time we were trying to chop through all these different levels. Now it's just really the all-time high, kind of all that remains. So things are looking very good. Very good. And I'm starting to believe in the whole left translated cycle theory. You've probably seen me and a few others talking about it on Twitter lately. I've seen some guys saying everyone is talking about this now. I mean, I swear you get more than 10 people talking about it, and someone's gonna come out and say everyone is talking about it. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, oh no, 20 people on crypto Twitter are talking about it. I guess everyone's following this. But anyways, I think it's a pretty good contender, and basically the left translated idea is that we will have a much more sped up bull run than the previous ones, where typically, we have the Bitcoin halving, and then about 4 to 5, 6 months after that, we ripped to new highs. And that's pretty much what happened the cycle before as well. And left translated would happen something like this. Bitcoin halving's in what, 40 days or something? So we probably move towards 60K, maybe even all-time high by the halving, and then basically just rip until the end of the year, and then top out sometime the start of next year, pretty much screwing over everybody that thinks they're safe to hold into 2025. Yeah, guys, just sell Q2, Q3 2025. You'll be good. Maybe. That seems to be, some people want to say everyone's talking about this idea, but to me, everyone seems to think, we'll have the Bitcoin halving, and then we'll just do this all the way through 2025. So just come in, sell at the end of 2025, and you'll be completely safe. To me, this is like the 90% of people's theory. I think a much smaller amount of people think we're going to rally a lot earlier and top out a lot earlier. And I don't really care which one we get. I mean, honestly, probably make way more money with the normal, typical bull market where we rally 6 months after the halving, and then we top out however many days from the bottom it is, like 1070 from the lows, and then look at that. From bottom to top, 1070 days. From bottom to top, 1064 days. So the typical theory is we get about the same amount of time as the previous 2 cycles, and that gives us the end of 2025. I think it was a bit shorter this run, but hey, let's just focus on the ones where it fits the narrative, right? Anyways, this is pretty much the general idea. Sell late 2025 and you'll be straight. Me and some other guys are kind of just proposing, and people have been proposing this for a while. I didn't really believe it until the last month or so. I'm really starting to think it's possible that we just rip this whole year basically, and every step of the way you got people waiting for the dip. Just like people after this 20% dump were saying, here comes the next big dip, and then this dump, oh wait, here comes the next big dip, here comes the next big dip, here comes the next big dip. And just every step of the way you got sideliners just waiting for like a 30 or 40 or 50% dip, and it never happens. And as we know from previous cycles, the faster and the higher we go, the shorter and less deep the dips get. Might have a 40% pullback over a month or two, and then a 30% pullback over a couple weeks, and then a 30% pullback over a couple weeks, 30% pullback over a few weeks, and then all of a sudden it's 3 weeks, and then it's this pullback is what, 1 week, then you just rip. So I think that's definitely a plenty fair possibility. Just have people, I'm not going to say it's max pain. I mean, come on. We all know what's real max pain. This is real max pain, obviously. But I think the next best max pain is just no pullbacks. People are just pretty much begging for it. I mean, half of my tweets that are bullish on stuff is just, give me a pullback first. Oh, I forgot. I didn't buy the last dip. I don't know, man. I guess it just depends on what your Twitter feed is like. Like I said earlier, you get 10 people that talk about a certain topic or a theory, and all of a sudden you get 10 other people saying, everyone's talking about this now, so it's not gonna happen. It's like saying everyone 20 years ago said investing in the stock market was a good idea, and now the stock market's gone up only for 20 years. It's like, but they said it would happen, so it shouldn't have happened. It's makes you want to bang your head on the table or something. Anyways, I'm kind of just babbling now. I guess we'll get back to the technicals, but one of the things that really has me thinking this left translated cycle, this quicker cycle, to dumb it down, I guess, is that we're trending higher and closer to the all-time high prior to the halving than we ever have before. You imagine from the lows last year or 2022, I guess, we are up 240%, and we're only 30% away from the all-time high, right? And we are still, I don't know the exact date of the halving, but something like this. We're about 50 days, I think, from the halving. And the previous two cycles, when was it last time? Like the 18th of May or something like that? I mean, this is kind of unfair because we had the COVID dip, but let's use 2016 as a better example. You know, the halving was right around here. 50 days before the halving, two cycles back, we had a long way to go to all-time highs. Well over 100%. And then let's assume we didn't even get COVID dip, right? Let's assume we're just somewhere in here. You still were 100% from the all-time high, you know, a month or so before the halving. Well, now we're 2 months before the halving, and we only got 30% until the highs. That's never happened before. You know, does that? I mean, you know, at some point, does that matter? Like, I don't know. I think it shows that there's a lot of demand, and that people are very happy to front run all these people waiting for a deeper dip. You know, the ETFs, they don't care. They'll buy it here, they'll buy it 20% cheaper, they'll buy it 20% higher because they're just going to rake in the fees, right? They're going to throw their 1% in, tell it to all their clients, not care about the price for the most part. Obviously, I mean, at to some extent, they care about the price. But for the most part, like, they're not trying to sell this in a week or a month. They're just trying to rake in the fees from their clients for the next decade. So, I don't know. I mean, but I guess everyone's talking about it, so it can't happen. Anyways, don't be surprised if by the time Bitcoin halving comes in a month and a half, we're sitting in front of the all-time high. So if you're waiting for some, I don't know, ridiculous pullback, it might just be time to add to your bags. You know, if you consider, maybe you can get a downside of like this and an upside of like, I don't know, let's say we go to 150K or something, right? Like, that's the ideal risk reward, right? But, you know, this is already pretty good risk reward, right? Like, when you can make this much, isn't it a little bit greedy to be like, well, I could see I can make this much, but I'd rather get like 10% cheaper. I don't know. Seems kind of short-sighted. It just seems kind of short-sighted. And now we're basically doing the same thing we did back in December, January. Like, we had this range. We went a little above it, came back down, a little below it, came back in. And now we got the same thing here. We went a little above it, a little below it. People coping. And we probably just do this. And then people will call for 40K again. Probably won't get it. And then, once the halving is here, I mean, we're going to see some, at least I think we're going to see some serious supply shock. I mean, 450 Bitcoin a day from miners, that is not that much. When you consider we've gone from 15K to 53K with 900 Bitcoin a day. Well, now we got ETF inflows. As soon as we hit all-time highs, or maybe 20% above it, you're going to have mass influx of retail buyers. And, Bitcoin supply rate's cut in half. Oh, and it's an election year, so stocks are probably going to pump. Oh, and they're probably going to puke interest rates. Maybe. I don't know. Seems like a perfect storm. I know we talk about this pretty much every stream, but it really does seem like the perfect storm. And the bottom line is, whether you believe me or not, I don't care. If you want to play safer, less greedy, power to you. I'm willing to risk a lot of money on something I consider reasonably high confidence. So that's what you'll catch me here going crazy about. Anyways, let me look at some of these comments. I don't like to get too behind. Logan, do you believe having 40K portfolio is enough to do well this bull market? Do you think it's reasonable to think a 10x is possible? Is 40K enough to do well? I mean, I think when you talk about doing well, I would be more focused on a percent return than dollar value. I mean, if you turn $1,000 into $10,000, you did well, right? You 10x your money in a reasonably short period of time. If you're talking about quitting your job, that's maybe a different story. If you're talking about lifelong retirement, that's a whole nother story, right? So, excuse me. Mute my mic. Um, so doing well, that's going to be up to you, right? What are your goals in crypto? You should have goals now before we go crazy. Is your goal to pay off some loans? Is your goal to get emergency savings for a couple of years? Your goal to have a down payment on a home, pay off your parents' debt, go on vacation, whatever, right? That should be the biggest focus. Reach your goals and then cash out a big chunk for that. Um, do I think it's reasonable to 10x portfolio? Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, not everyone will be able to do that. I think more people are going to lose 10x their money than make it. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're, keeping your emotions in check, you're not trying to rotate too much. I mean, there's plenty of stuff you could buy right now that probably in 6 months will be way more than 10x. And the flip side is there's plenty of stuff you can buy right now that'll be in the dirt. So, is it reasonable? Yes, I am personally expecting to at least 5x my portfolio, and I don't know. I think it's a bit harder to 5x a more sizable portfolio than a smaller one. So, yeah. Anyways, Hyper Raver, who's 0x Messi? 0x Messi is, well, Messi. If you guys followed him, if you were around in 2017 through 2021, Crypto Messiah was a very good DeFi trader that a lot of us followed and still follow. I've been friends with him for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years now, and he's a great guy, kind of known for dumping on people, but he said from the start, "Hey, I'm gonna dump on you. So like, if you guys follow me, I don't know what you expect." And people didn't follow him, and he dumps his coins when he wants to sell, and people get mad. So he's long since turned in his 150K follower account, and he's been on a smaller account for years called LARP Capital, but he recently got banned, so now he's on 0x Messi. But he's got a boatload of experience in crypto. He's a really smart guy. I would not recommend just copy trading him, just like I would never recommend just copy trading me. The guy does what's best for his game plan, for his goals, same as me. So if you straight up just come in and copy trade me, there's a good chance you're going to have a bad time. You go and straight up copy trade this guy or anyone else on crypto Twitter for that matter, there's a good chance you're going to have a bad time. But I do expect him to make a ton of money this cycle, and I expect a lot of the plays he's in to do very well. And he's a good guy. He's a family man. He's a good guy. Any recommendations for a smaller portfolio? Man, I get this question a lot. I mean, there's a few avenues you can go down, right? You can load up. Well, first off, I think something that a smaller portfolio trader has to accept is if you're looking to make significant gains in a relatively short period of time, a year or two, there's a good chance you're going to have to take on more risk than someone with a $500,000 portfolio. It is what it is. I can come in and risk 1 or 2% of my account and still see pretty great gains on, a 5x or a 10x versus, if you risk 1% of a 40K account, you might be paying $60 in fees, and that's a big chunk of your position. So, maybe you're better off on other L2s or on Solana or something like that. It just depends on the actual size of your portfolio. But that's one thing I'd recommend. If you're trading 10, 20, 30, 40K, you kind of just got to accept you're probably going to have to risk a little bit more. You're not going to be able to come in and risk 1% of every trade. And you can still see slow, steady growth over a longer time frame if you're willing to accept that. And I think it's totally fine. But, like you're saying, if is it reasonable to think a 10x is possible? For sure, but if you're trying to 10x a smaller portfolio, you're probably going to have to put up some risk, right? Like, I think one good strategy is to be in the micro cap gang. Trying to catch those 500K to $1 million market cap plays and then selling them at 5 million to 10 million. Some of those are going to go to 100 million plus in the bull market. So that's the other strat, right? Is you hunker down. At 40K portfolio, I don't think I would load up a dozen coins, but you catch 3 or 4 coins, maybe 5, and you just hunker down and you pray you picked good coins. That's one side, and the other side is just rotation, right? You try to ride that quick initial launch from 500K to 5 mil, and then dip, and then hop into the next one, and pray you don't get rugged. Basically, you got to be smart and lucky. You know, that's pretty much the main strategies, right? Where you hunker down some altcoins and you pray you're in the right ones, or you just invest in high caps and you be comfortable with, you're probably not going to make retirement money in a couple years, right? It might take you 5 or 10 years to get where you want to go, but if that's fine with you, then power to you. Nothing wrong with it. Obviously, avoid leverage. I mean, you have like flip side of the coin, people who say never touch leverage. It's like the devil. And then the other side is like, why does everyone hate on leverage? I mean, if you're really responsible with it, well, the point of hating on leverage is most people that do it are not responsible with it. It's like, you probably shouldn't drink alcohol. But I have a glass of wine a day and it's fine. Yeah, well, most people who drink alcohol all the time aren't just having a glass of wine a day because they don't got the self-control. Same thing with leverage. Most people shouldn't use leverage because they aren't gonna just trade 1% of their account, right? They're gonna trade 1% and lose it. Nah, shoot, let me get 2% this time. Fuck, man, I lost that quicker than I thought. Well, I'll just throw in 5%. I'll stop after that. Damn, dude, this setup looks so good. If I just throw 5% in, I can get my 10% back really quick, and then the toast in a month. So definitely would avoid leverage. I think holding some good. If I was doing it, I would probably take 10K of the 40K and try and play the rotation gang. And I would put 30K into 2, maybe 3 low caps that I really like. At this stage, it's a damn coin flip. I don't know which ones I would pick right now, but that's how I would probably do it. 75-25 split, 75 into midterm holds, and then a 25% to flip around. Anyways, I just realized I'm not playing music, man. We got to do a music check, guys. Gotta make sure. Not too loud. And go for the Witcher. Witcher, how far behind is the stream? Oh, it's not behind at all. Okay. Was that too loud? I couldn't even hear it because I was muted. All right. Voice check. Voice check. Voice check. Voice check. Oh, that's great. The music's not even coming through. Well, I guess it's pointless to even try that, I suppose. Um, while I'm answering these previous questions, I want to make sure I don't miss the new ones. What do you consider microcap, low cap? Microcap, I mean, as the bull market progresses, we these kind of levels level up, if you will, right? Like at the start of last year, a microcap would have been like 250K, 500K market cap. Now, I think you could say a microcap is really anything under 10 mil. And then a low cap is like 10 to 100 mil. Mid caps are like 100 to like 750, even a billion. And then high caps really anything above a billion. That's what I would say. And I think we'll get to a stage where, even anything under 100 million, people are going to be calling low caps in the future. But right now, I would say micro cap is like anything under 5 mil. Low cap's like under 50. Med cap is like under 500. And then anything above that's a high cap. With grains of salt, you know? Like, I don't think it's good to be super specific or anything, but that's kind of how I look at it. Bony price target if Bitcoin's between 100 and 200K. I think 0.1 is pretty fair. I think that should be pretty easy. I mean, what is there's 10,000 bonies times 0.1, 1,000 Bitcoin, right? Yep, 1,000 Bitcoin times 100,000, 100 million. I mean, think about that. If bonies were a shitcoin, $100 million market cap is not that crazy. So if bonies go to 0.1 and Bitcoin's 100K, then they're worth $100 million as a collection, which again, in reality, $100 million for a picture collection is ridiculous, but it's crypto. So it's, you know, by the time Bitcoin's 100K, $100 million is probably barely going to be top 100,000 or top 1,000 projects in crypto. So that's kind of my target, 0.1 for bonies, which would be a nice return from where we're sitting now. Airdrops might be a good hint for smaller portfolios to grow quicker. Yes, I do think airdrops are a great way to grow a smaller portfolio. You just got to be very cautious, right? Very cautious in what you're connecting to, using fresh wallets, making sure you're always clicking the right links. And I mean, that definitely goes for crypto in general. But if you're trying to catch 5 airdrops every week or something, like, you're definitely going to be connecting to a lot more things than some guy who's just trading on Uniswap, right? So I do think airdrop farming can be very valuable. You just definitely have to be on your game, caution-wise, right? You never get comfortable, and that does go for everyone, but definitely airdrop farmers more than anyone else. Not if you're in Blockcircle, we winning. I mean, we're kind of winning. Like, my portfolio's up massively. You got a boatload of people in Blockcircle that are also sharing their plays that are doing really well, like Minato and Mushroom and Blade, amongst numerous others. You know, back in 2020, 2021, it was pretty much just me. Like, not really. I mean, there's other people, but, you know, for the most part, it was my plays. And, you know, obviously a lot of people want to follow that. Some people just want to use it as research, blah, blah, blah. But now you have so many valuable sources of information in Blockcircle that it kind of feels like we're becoming this like information giant. Like, and it keeps a good culture though. You know, it's like everyone's respectful. You got this kind of degen culture, but it's still professional, it's entertaining, but the information is very high quality for the most part. You know, sometimes you still get people that just paste a contract address and say, "Hey, this is good." And, you know, I'd like to reduce that, but I mean, yeah, you know, Blockcircle's winning pretty nicely in the last 6 to 12 months. Anyways, ooh, what's up, Moonbear? I didn't even see you tuned in, homie. If you're still here, man, great to have you. What's up, Wolf? How's it, Non? Good to see you, brother. Zero X leverage. Yep. Let me go back and make sure I don't miss anything. I like to go to order. Because I have skipped some comments. What did this guy say? My girl said she got 200 racks from OnlyFans to buy Solana, but it's too expensive now. We'll only buy sub 60. I mean, she's probably going to be coping the whole way up. I mean, sub 60, you're basically asking for the worst of the worst dumps. Like, it's not that it can't happen. You know, that's great longer term support. I just think it's kind of, I mean, there's nothing wrong with not chasing. But like, if you got 200 bands, why not just put in 50? And then if you really want to save the rest for down here, then if you don't get it, you make money. If you do get it, I mean, you buy that with the last 150, and you know that first 50 brings your average a little bit higher than where if you bought everything here. Like, I'm sure that was jokes, but there's totally people that think that way. Like, I think Solana is probably going to go to like 1,000 this cycle, but instead of 100, I want to get it at like 70. So I'm not going to buy any. like my brother in Christ, this is your upside. And instead of buying here, you won't buy unless you get here. People really be thinking that way. It's the greed talking. If I can't double up, I won't buy. What's up, Coos, man? Thanks for tuning in. You think the pi cycle top will still work well with the more left translated cycle? Absolutely. I absolutely think it will. For those of you that don't know, this is the pi cycle high that he's talking about that we've discussed many times on streams. And it has caught basically every peak in crypto to a T. Like for the most part, the only one it didn't, this one, technically the top was over here, but guarantee you, you know, by this point, most people would have been way better off if they just sold here. So I do think this will happen again. I'm not going to go into all the details behind it, but there's actually a couple of moving averages that calculate it. And it's essentially when this orange moving average crosses above this green one. Again, I'm not going to go into the calculations. You're welcome to look it up if you want. We've talked about it before on the private streams, but that cross is the pi cycle high, and it's a very good exit indicator for crypto. And I remember I didn't even know about this till like 2018. Here it goes again. I was like, man, I'm not gonna screw this up. And it also catches the lows very well too. Back in here. You can't see it. The BLX chart has it, I think. That one. Catches the lows every time on the lower fibs. Like literally every time it catches the bottom. So I mean, it's got probably the best hit rate of any indicator in crypto. And it's also caught the highs. And these are real time. This is not something that gets added months later. But I remember sitting in here and thinking, you know, next pi cycle high, I'm taking everything off. And then when it happened, I was like, you know, I probably got a little bit longer. Like, it's probably not going to work this time. And, you know, that was Pico top. And so maybe this time that really happens and it doesn't play out the same. But I'm willing to bet that it does. And we still got plenty of time. You know, for this, you know, at the rate that the green is rising, you know, even if orange really, really started to speed up, it would probably take to at least, I don't know, at least 100K for them to cross. And we would have to get to 100K by like June for that to happen. And typically when it crosses, price is trending well above where the cross actually happens. So if price crosses here, even if it happened 4 months from now, if price is crossing at 100K, price is probably at 140. So, I've even got it up on the chart here too, funny enough. But yeah, I do think the pi cycle will catch the top very nicely again. I plan to scale out anywhere from 50 to 80% just around the pi cycle high, depending on certain factors. You know, if I'm, you know, I'm not just gonna all out the pi cycle high. I mean, I made 100x on spell during this bounce here, so it's not to say that bull market's guaranteed over or anything, but you know, a lot of stuff like Aave, Compound, a lot of the big DeFi primitives, most of them did this, you know, on this little echo bubble. So that definitely was the top. Chainlink, you know, a lot of that big stuff that rallied early. Anyways, pi cycle high has a fantastic hit rate in crypto. Definitely something we want to look out for. If you want it, just go to indicators, type pi cycle Bitcoin high low. And that's that. All-time high in March. I could totally see an all-time high in March. Timely chart Sol ETH, Sol BTC. I think both of those look pretty bad. Sol ETH especially looks like toast. Like there's no reason to be long Sol versus ETH right now. I mean, this is a glorious chart from 0.01 to 0.05, but now it is fully broken down, right? Until you get back above 45, absolutely no reason to trade Solana versus ETH whatsoever. You want a knife catch, power to you, but you might be knife catching for a long time. Or maybe it just, does this. And if it does, right, you can get involved again when things look good. But for now, I wouldn't touch it. Soul BTC probably doesn't look as bad, but still, it's pretty bad. Someone said Blockcircle streams pump the market. Are we pumping? Not really. You got me hyped up, Rev. Barely moving. Bob Lucas video was great. I didn't see that one. I'll have to check that out. Saw a video from time back when somebody predicted this to happen based on the fact that each round was getting shorter and now it's playing out. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely believing it, honestly. Buy Pepe Easy 10x. Unironically, we don't really check Pepe out much on stream, but I actually have it pulled up to check out today. I actually do think Pepe looks really good. Like, this chart's actually really, really solid. You had this attempted higher low, which we lost. Now we've reclaimed, made another higher low. Now all you got to really do is clear whatever this level is, 1900-ish, and you're going to have a fresh uptrend. Inverse head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it, right? Basically a complete reversal. And at that point, I do think Pepe is going to full send, probably at least 10x this cycle. Maybe a lot more. What even is it now? Like, is it even a billion? Half a billion. Damn. I mean, this might 20x, honestly. Like, I would not be surprised to see Pepe 20x from here to 10 billion. Not in the next month or anything, but I do think it's going to re-enter an uptrend very soon. This is a really nice set of candles right here. Like, you go look at the 4 hour. I mean, this is going to be a super healthy trend. Yeah, I think this looks really good. Really healthy uptrend. As long as you can keep this trend going into these old highs up here, I mean, I think this is going to just explode. I don't have any, right? I mean, I'm so heavy on Welsh that I can't really bring myself to buy any other meme coins. I just don't want more. I don't need more of my portfolio in other meme coins, even if one's going to go harder than mine. But I do think Pepe's a good play going into the rest of this year. All right. Now that I'm pretty much caught up, we can definitely look at some of your guys' shitcoins. Comment on 0xL. Let's check it out. 0x leverage. Oh, wow. That's a really nice bounce off the lows. Was a little cheeky 2x. Looking like just some long-term consolidation going on here. Something like that. I mean, that looks pretty good. It looks about ready to full send. Maybe you come back to, the middle of this range again. In like the mid sixes or something. Make a little higher low. This is what you're definitely looking for. I would not really want to re-enter back on the kind of lower half of this range. I don't put too much. What's the word I'm looking for? Not precedence. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't put too much weight on angular trend lines, but in general, I would not want to see going back below this. You can see it's been pretty hefty resistance. So if you crack back below this, there's a good chance you're just going to keep breaking down again. So that's kind of the reason you want to hold. That also lines up, I'm sure, with the key Fibonacci levels, 0.5 to 0.618. So that's what I would be looking for. High or low, somewhere in this region. And then finally push to new highs. It's been a multi-month consolidation. I think the project is good too. From a fundamental standpoint, I think it's pretty solid. 10% liquidity versus market cap is very good. Looks like liquidity is locked as well, so that's nice. All in all, pretty solid. Thoughts on Stark? I don't really have any thoughts on it, honestly. The the PR around it is horrible. It might hate pump, right? Because the chart's so destroyed. Maybe it'll get a hate pump going on, but it's not something I have even a remote interest in touching. Like even if it pumps, I just don't care. It's not something I'd like to be in. Fully diluted has already popped so hard. I mean, yeah, sure, this can go 10x to 200 billion, like whatever that one project launched. ICP. I mean, that was like, what was that, like $200 billion or 300 or something? I can't even remember. What was price? Price was 460. It's 12 now. It's $6.5 billion. But yeah, this the ICP at the top of last bull market launched at 250 billion fully diluted. So maybe this does the same. Maybe it pumps 10x to $20 and this goes to 200 billion fully diluted and it doesn't matter. I won't be touching it. I think it's VC garbage. I have zero faith in it whatsoever. Does not interest me. Also, I guess there's plenty of liquidity on centralized exchanges, but liquidity on DeFi is terrible. 1.2 million for $1 billion market cap. It's a joke. Absolute joke. I wouldn't touch it. What would be a safe bet for Ordinals? Someone who has zero exposure. I was definitely planning on talking about this, so we can go ahead and take a peek. But I would say anything on the top page. Node monkeys, Bitcoin puppets. I think are probably the safest bet. Node monkeys might go to the highest price, but these are a bit cheaper. I bought some CCOs today. I think that could be a pretty decent bet, and they're a lot cheaper if your portfolio is smaller. I also bought some quantum cats. Bitcoin frogs feels like a reasonably safe bet, but these two are definitely showing as the most popular. So I feel like these are probably the safest. I also think bitmaps are pretty good. RSIC seem pretty popular. Crazy volume on them. Bitmaps are very cheap, basically land on Bitcoin. So my top 5 are the top 5 if you sort by 30 days, honestly. RSIC, Quantum Cats, Node Monkeys, Puppets, and Bitmaps, with Frogs as a runner-up and CCO as a runner-up. But if I had to pick one, I'd pick Puppets. And then you've got Burials and Bonies, I think are also good, and they're very cheap. I don't know if they'll ever be a top 5, but I think they are definitely one of my favorites, and I own a boatload of them. It's the same guys that did Bitcoin Frogs, and I think they're pretty good. But again, puppets are probably your best bet if you got the portfolio for one. I wouldn't chuck 30% of your portfolio into it, but yeah, I think this is my favorite. Joining late, Jackson here. What's up, Jackson? Thanks for tuning in. Also, sorry if you guys make these comments and I don't see them or talk about them for like 20 minutes. I'm trying to go through these comments in order, but then I know there's a bunch of new comments, so I try and go back and forth. Let me just read through these and then we can go back and do stuff. If you don't have the funds of the blue chip NFTs or any potential ordinals that small tadpoles can jump on. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was talking about here. I think burials or bonies are a pretty good idea because the bonies are the same artists as the Bitcoin frogs. And eventually, if these are going to stay top 10, I think there's a decent chance bonies could also be, top 50. And bonies are like, I don't know, like $200 or something, 0.003 Bitcoin. I also think CCOs are pretty good. They kind of have puppet vibes, like the same energy as Bitcoin puppets, but they're cheaper. You know, they got pretty good volume, 30 Bitcoin already. So I think these are a pretty good option. Uh, and yeah, that's what I would choose. You know, burials and bonies, CC zeros, and probably bitmaps. Thoughts on my sideline? Get to buy bags. TS. Okay, we can look through some of those. Let me catch up on these comments. Sorry if it was already discussed. No, you're good. Have a look at VEC. Absolutely. I legit think VEC is going to go to like, I don't know, man, like $500 plus, maybe 1,000, something stupid. If it's going to be a good Ponzi, dude, I mean, y'all remember what Ohm did, right? That shit went crazy. I think this could go equally crazy. Imagine something similar to 21 and 22, not taking hard profits for that first top. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, you know, and that's the way I'm playing it this time. I just had a call with my business partner earlier, about, you know, we'd much rather take profits aggressively on the way up, and maybe you miss like the last big leg that's crazy, but when it does come crumbling down, you know, you'll look back and pretty much all your sales in here are gonna feel really good. You know, if you sold anywhere in here, even if you missed this whole run up, where plenty of altcoins went 10x, 50x, you know, 100x in here. By this point, even just this point, you're gonna feel so good, and by this point, you're gonna feel great. So, you know, maybe I'll sell a bunch of stuff too early this time. I've honestly stopped caring. Like, there's plenty of stuff I sold last year that has ripped. I do not care at all. Like, I don't think about it at night. I don't think about it in the morning. I don't think about it in streams. I don't care. As long as I'm making good money that's going to fulfill my goals, I'm very happy with taking profits whenever I feel like it's best. Obviously, you know, try to learn from it. You can still make mistakes taking profits too early for sure, but I would much rather sell a little bit early on this run and miss this than be stuck trying to decide if I want to sell here. And trust me, you know, if you sat through this and you didn't sell here because, oh, it could be a higher low, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to sell here because it could be a higher low again. And then you're going to be stuck trying to sell here. And then you're gonna be like, "Oh well, it's just a run of the lows. It's just a run of the lows. We bounce. Let's go." And then you're gonna be stuck selling literally the bottom. You know, so like either sell here or you hold through this dump and convince yourself that this is gonna be the same as this time, and you're just gonna do this. But then you roll over. You convince yourself this is another run of the lows. Oh, we ran the highs and bounced. Now we're gonna run the lows and bounce, and then you had to sell all your stuff here. So I'm definitely of take profits earlier than I think I should, gang. Not now, of course, but NMT goes to $50. Honestly, higher. Oh, we made new highs. Let's go, NMT. Oh, who else? Who else riding me? I know some of you Blockcircle guys are in here from like 40, 50 cents. I had to buy your guys bags in this region. But, I got some good sides on. I'm pretty happy with this. I think I got like, I don't know, like 30K NMT. Pretty solid. I think it might be just. I think it's in my top 10 now, actually, as far as size goes. And you guys know me. I hate buying stuff that's up. Like, and I was even saying it up here. Like, man, I don't want to buy this. It's $4, and it was 7 cents last week or 2 weeks ago. But I got out of my head. I saw a good dip I liked. I aped it, and we're getting paid. And I genuinely think this can go like $50 to $100. And they announced something really good recently. If you guys aren't paying attention, the real reason I didn't like this, even just outside of, oh, it's already up a lot, is the emissions were looking insane. There's like 130 million coins in the first year. And at $5, you're talking about adding $700 million of emissions this year. Insanity. But they just announced today that they're going to be burning like 200K coins a day, which over a year is like 70 million. So 70 million out of the 130 million coins this year, all of a sudden emissions aren't as bad. They're getting a little bit closer to like EMC levels of emissions, much more manageable. So 130 million coins this year in emissions, that's a bit much. Now it's going to be like 55. Still a lot, but a lot less. So emissions are looking better and they're burned. They're not just like delayed, they're burned. So they're gone for good. I think that's really good. Liquidity is also really solid for the circulating. I mean, over 10% of circulating market cap is really good. So when you want to get out of this, you can get out on size super easily. 80-cent entry, nice, dude. Very cool. Yeah, most people probably got in before me. I think there were some guys in Blockcircle talking about this as early as 30, 40 cents. I probably still wouldn't have bought if you guys told me that here. I've been like, bro, this was 8 cents last week. I'm not buying it at 80 cents in 4 days. You're insane. So I don't mind that I found out about it late because I wouldn't have bought it here anyways. But I'm glad I added on that dip. EMC dip, a good opportunity to get in. I mean, if you're not in, I would say so. I think this bag is really solid. And like the dump looks rough, but it's literally like 3 people. It's like 3 guys, or I think actually, I'm pretty sure this one and this one are the same person, just on 2 different wallets, and this is someone different. But they both are just people that bought back here, and they just wanted to get out. They made good money, they want to get out. I think it's a bit short-sighted, but if they made good money, hit their goals, power to them. So, whether you want to take advantage of the dip or not, could it go lower? Of course, there could be a 4th person that wants to do the same thing as those guys. There always could be. But in general, I think this is one of the better AI bags out there. Definitely one of my favorites. And you're seeing close to the same pullbacks that we've gotten before. So, maybe you get a little bit lower to like, I don't know, $1.40 or something, but I think this is a solid bag. Me. What's up, Moonbear? Glad to have you, homie. Messi, not private. Dude, I told him to go private to like 400 followers. I don't know why he wouldn't be. He's private on mine. Oh, no, he's not. Now he's on private. Why? Oh, he said off private for 20 minutes. Too many people who were left out, and I can't find him. Well, here's your chance, guys. If you guys want to follow Messi, don't just ape what he apes, right? You're gonna have a bad time. Same if you just follow me blindly. But he pops off sometimes. Definitely worth listening to. Still holding VMint and GTX. Yes, sir. I want to read this. I missed a few comments here. I want to read these and then we can look at some of those. I know Hassan wanted to look at some coins. We can check those out. What's your biggest dog coin? Welsh? Oh, dude. Welsh is my biggest bag in crypto by disgusting amount. Partially just because I got in, back here in March. I mean, before you couldn't even chart this thing. It was so early. And it was like 0.0006, something like this level. And I bought a lot, so this is my biggest bag by far. I'm just diamond handing it. That's why some stuff like Fideium, I've been TPing some of this pretty much all throughout here. And yeah, this could go another 50x, maybe even 100x. But because of the degeneracy that I'm doing on this bag, I'm up over 100x, haven't sold a penny. Because of the degeneracy of that, the flip side is I'm going to be a little bit less degenerate on some of my other bigger bags, right? I'm willing to take profits. I'm up 50x or whatever plus on Fideium. I'm okay just constantly taking profits. When I hit 50x on Creso, same thing. Whether it can go another 100x or not, I'm going to be cozy just taking profits whenever because, if Welsh is this my portfolio and everything else is this, and I'm being maximum degen on this, I'm going to be less degenerate with this. So yeah, I'm just straight diamond handing this for now. I mean, we're getting to those points. Once we hit a penny, I'm going to start selling, 1, 2, 3%, basically every step up to like 10 cents every $100 million or something. But if I didn't have that much, if I only had like 5% of my account in this, I would just diamond hand it to billions. But because I have so much, I kind of have to just limit order my way out slowly. Metalex, anyone check it out? Yeah, we did not. No, I'll definitely check it out. I know a couple people were asking me about that. Thoughts on Creaso for the coming weeks? I think the chart looks fantastic. I think it's pretty safe to say we're done with this accumulation phase. Someone was saying in Blockcircle, it's because Hunter tweeted. Like, I have tweeted plenty of times since December about it, and it ain't left the range. So I think some people are just catching on. Well over $1 million volume there. So I think this looks really good. I think they're the main. I think the main sponsor of ETH Denver too, which is going on right now. So that's a big positive. I'd like to see some progress on their app. I would really like to be able to use their wallet, even just on a tester wallet. It'd be really nice to see how useful their account abstraction is going to be and all the new wallet features and stuff. So hopefully they can get that released as soon as possible. But on the flip side, I don't want them to rush it out. If it's a wallet, it has to be tight security wise, right? Audited out the ass. Like, it needs to be really secure. So if it takes them a month, 2 months, I don't really care, right? As long as when it comes out, it's good, it's slick with features, and it's super secure, I think we'll be fine. I think this is a joke. I think it should be at least 10x from here. And in general, my big picture target is a penny. I'll be taking profits all the way up because that's kind of what I'm doing with a lot of my bags. But in general, I think a penny is my big picture goal. And that's not even going to be, that won't even be $1 billion. And as Powell is saying here, just like last cycle to 2017, this cycle to 2021, we will probably see much more exuberant market cap. I've done it on stream 1 million times now, so I'm not going to do it again on this one. But, right now, the top 100 is basically all $1 billion outside of the, top 90 are all $1 billion. At the top of last bull run, top 100 were all like 3 billion or 2 billion. At the top of this bull run, the top 100 will probably be all 5 to 10 billion. Thus, if you think your coin belongs with the likes of Chile and Conflux and EOS and Neo and White Bitcoin, right? If you think any of your bags belongs with this garbage, Chili's, then you could potentially be looking at a $5 to $10 billion market cap bag, right? Like, a lot of these, I would say at least half of these probably will not be in the top 100 anymore come market cycle peak. So, up your targets. And I definitely have upped my peak market cap targets. It doesn't mean I'm going to hold my whole bag until there. And in general, I will be moving from a lot of these low caps throughout the bull market to stuff like Bitcoin, Stacks, Ethereum. My portfolio is just, again, it's not a flex or anything. It just is what it is. My portfolio is large enough that I really need to be consolidated in high liquidity assets. And as time goes on, I think the risk reward is more favorable to be in high caps than low caps later on. Right now, not so much. Like, if you're in Bitcoin right now, what are you going to get this bull market? At best, I mean, it's anyone's best guess. In my opinion, at best, from this point, you're getting like a 4 or 5x. 250K. That's kind of my big peak target. Maybe 300. More reasonable, though, is like 100 to 200, someone in there. In general, what is that? 3 to 4x? Most altcoins that are of quality should go at least 10x by then. Low caps, probably 20x. So the risk reward's better in low caps right now. But as time goes on, your downside risk on Bitcoin, I think, let's say you're at 150K. I'd say your downside risk there is probably like 70, about 50%. Your downside risk on most low caps will be about 99.9%. And your upside risk might be like a 5 or 10x. So later on in the cycle, I'm going to be heavily moving from low caps to high caps. Not completely. I'll still have some low caps I'm heavy in. And most of these, I will still trail out a small position. But for the most part, once we're seeing this play out, where you're seeing a lot of the top 100 is 5 billion, 6 billion, 7 billion, I'm going to try and be in a lot of these top 10, top 20 bags. Can you help give timeframes when Pepe or Welsh will move? I can do that as long as you understand I'm just pulling it out my ass, right? Like, does it really benefit me that much to give you a time frame that's like I have nothing to back it, Like, we can look at it, and in general, I think this should break out from this kind of range within the next few months, maybe even in the next month. Keep in mind, for most of these altcoins to have a strong move, you're going to need Bitcoin to maintain its strong uptrend, right? If you get something like this or like this, all of a sudden, and then like this and this, whatever, you're basically extending how long that will take until this happens again. However, flip side, if you do this, then your coins can do what they're going to do within a shorter time frame. I'm sort of leaning more towards this. So in that light, I think Pepe could do, something pretty crazy by probably the end of April, next month or two. And Welsh, I think, will probably run to or towards 5 cents. You can see I've got a bajillion alerts here. I need to add one more in here. I think Welsh will move towards 5 cents by the time the Nakamoto upgrade comes, which is supposed to come around halving in April. So about less than 2 months from now. It's freaking crazy. I think it'll run something like this. And then Nakamoto upgrade, maybe a big sell-off because that'll be a sell the news event temporarily. Then people realize it's actually stupid bullish, and I think we can run through to $1 billion sometime maybe in the summer. Maybe Q3. I think if I had to, gun to my head, if I had to pick the best performance time for Welsh, I would say Q3, Q4. But I do think up into the Nakamoto upgrade, and especially if it's successful, then about a month after the Nakamoto upgrade, I think it'll be a great time to be a Welsh holder. Hence my targets, my alerts all the way up to $1 billion. We'll just throw one up here just for the future. You think $10 billion market cap is a lot, but it could be common this cycle. Let's keep this in mind, guys. Let's keep this in mind. We all have different opinions on where this can go in crypto, but I think a pretty conservative target for most of us is probably $100,000 Bitcoin, which would be $2 trillion and $5 trillion market cap total. That's barely a double for the overall crypto space, and that's not even quite a double for Bitcoin. I think that is very conservative. So if we get $5 trillion market cap crypto, $2 trillion, right, at 100K Bitcoin, that leaves $3 trillion. $3 trillion. $3,000 billion for altcoins. So no, I don't think 10 billion is out of the ordinary by any means. You can have 100 projects. Think about that, guys, right? Top 100 can all be above 10 billion. Because you can have 100 $10 billion projects and not even be, and just be a trillion. And then, that leaves $2 trillion for Ethereum and Solana, which will be more than 10 billion, obviously, and a bunch of others, and then another, trillion for the rest of them. Let alone Bitcoin goes to 150K or maybe 200K, and instead of 5 trillion, maybe we go to 8 or 10 trillion market cap. You're talking unbelievable amounts of money, .com bubbles levels of money for altcoins. So, yeah, I think the sky's kind of the limit. And it doesn't mean your projects are going to go to 10 billion. Doesn't mean mine. But there's a good chance, there's a good chance most of these or a lot of these will not be here anymore by the end of this bull run. A lot of these will be on the way below it. And there's a good chance that some of my bags could very well move from the top 1,000, top 500 to the top 100, and that those bags could be $5-10 billion plus. It doesn't matter if that's 100x from here. It doesn't matter if it's 1,000x from here, right? If the market likes it and the market's frothy and there's trillions of dollars to go around, it is what it is, right? I'm finally starting to catch up on comments. Nice. Can we do a rundown on all our shitcoins? Yes. After I get to, all right, Mr. G or GurM, your thesis before 55K, whatever. That comment's gonna be the last one, and then I'm gonna do a full rundown of my coins once I catch up to that. So anyone who comments now after GRM, I'm not gonna address it until we do a full rundown, because I do want to do a rundown. You said in the Discord you sweeped bonies. What does that mean? You bought commons? Yeah, I got you. So basically, sweeping the floor means you buy the cheapest of an asset. So you go to bonies, they have a feature here, right? Like the cheapest one right here is 0.00338. And there's a few for that. Then the next one's 0.034. If I sweep, it means I'm buying all the cheapest ones. You can have this bar. And so I just did this. I maxed out the bar, and then I just bought a bunch. And then that sweeps all these into your wallet. And what's left are only assets that are more expensive at 0.0042. Now, right after that, someone can come list them for cheaper, like I don't even remember what price I swept them at. Someone might have already come and listed a bunch cheaper, but that's what sweeping means. It means buying the cheapest of the floor. And a good strategy for doing that over like buying, say, a cursed one, where these are more expensive, but they might sell for more later on in the bull market. There's going to be less people that are willing to buy these versus a lot of people. They're just going to want to buy the floor because it's the cheapest way to get exposure to an asset, and it's going to be the most liquidity at the floor. That's why I chose to buy a bunch of cheap commons instead of 4 or 5 nice rares. Know what I mean? Pete ZKML, they're cooking. Yeah, no, I heard you guys were cooking on that. I didn't have room for that one, and it's kind of in the narrative. I'm not really like super focused on it anymore, but that looks good. When did you guys even get in this? I think Blockcircle was talking about it like here, weren't they? Let me see. I don't even remember when this was a mushroom play, right? Let me peep when he first mentioned it. It was Valentine's Day, so it was probably like what 0.04 or something. Anyone remember? I don't know, but you guys are definitely up chilling. What, like, you guys are up like 500%. The chart looks great. I mean, this is a super healthy chart. It's straight up on like the daily, but on like the 1 hour, I mean, it's just a healthy stair step. This looks really good, really healthy. I think you guys are chilling on this one. So big ups to you guys. Not one I'm interested in, nor will I be buying, but chart looks really good. Hope you guys keep cooking with it. Oh yeah, and yeah, I'm still holding VMint. I think this chart looks solid. We got some pukers, but that's gonna happen, right? When you have a week where you rip up 200%, what's gonna happen is Some people are going to sit and wait and not sell. Then someone's going to sell. And the people that didn't are going to realize, damn, I wish I sold up there. I'll just sell here instead. And that's basically what's happening now. But this was the low. As long as we form a higher low in here, I'm feeling pretty cozy in this one. I think decentralized market making is a pretty good narrative. They've got a huge list of clients. They're doing like billions of dollars in volume. I'm happy to just kind of diamond hand this one. You know, if it takes months to play out, it takes months to play out. And same with GTX. I think it's a big brain project. I don't think I have a chart up for it right now. I guess we can pull it up here. I think it's a big brain project. Had a nice pump yesterday, looks like. But it's one of those that's going to take time. I mean, look at it. It's just chopping. I'm not even going to really pay attention to it until it's broken out of this. But yeah, still exposed, still feeling pretty cozy. When the Pico top is in, I sell off into stables. Which stable would you choose? When the Pico top is in, you don't sell off into stables. You cash out to the bank. That's what I would do. When the top is in, I don't want to be in crypto. I mean, I'll still have some exposure, but when the top is in, the only reason to have stables is for convenience, right? You know, if the top is in, I don't need stables here. I won't need them here or here. I will need them here and here. That's a long way to go. And I think if we pump really hard, if we get the left translated cycle this year and we top within the next year, I think we're going to have a long bear market. So I really just want stables. If I'm like taking profits, I want to hop back in the next week, in and out, in and out. That's when stables are most useful. I don't want to hold a stable coin that I'm just kind of trusting is actually backed by something. I would rather hold straight cash in my bank that I can put in like a money market fund or bonds or some crap like that. Now, I'll have some stable coins, of course. If I had to choose, I guess I would choose probably USDC, I guess. I feel like that's probably the most reliable. USDC or Tether. Tether's a little bit more questionable, but one of those two, or a split of both. You know, you could throw some DAI in there, or some spot. Hopped in, talked about EMC, sir. A little bit. We're gonna look at it here in just a second, though. I'm gonna do a run through of majority of my bags. All right, last thing I'm gonna talk about, and then I'm gonna do the run through. What was your thesis? 55K before pullback. My thesis, pretty much just that. I think it was around. Here, I think it was around this point. I was just saying that, you know, I had a pretty good feeling that we're going to run these lows and these highs before making a bigger move. And that I think that bigger move will be 255K. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what's happened so far. And we might keep chopping. I mean, and there's also a chance that this just breaks down. There's a chance. What I think is going to happen is that we'll start trending in the top half of the range now, and make higher lows and break out. But we could also just chop. More runs of both levels, you know. But that was the whole thesis: is that we set a high, we set a low. People are going to go long here, and they're going to get stopped out over here. People are going to get short here, and they're going to get stopped out here. Right? People start to short this lower high, they get stopped out. They decide to long instead, and they get stopped out here. And then they decide, I'm not going to trade this. We're just trading in a range. And that's when it actually breaks out. You know, seen it time and time again. So that was my thesis. All right, rest of these comments, I'll get to you guys in a minute. I'm going to go and I'm not going to go through every coin I own, but I'm going to go through, you know, a lot of them. Starting from biggest to smallest for the most part. Biggest, of course, is Welsh. I mean, no way around it. This is my biggest coin. Let's just look at this chart. It's really all we need. It looks fantastic. I mean, we had an amazing run up in December. a nice month-long pullback. So many people I saw saying, bro, it looks just like Bitcoin at 6K. It's going to break the low and drop 50%. As if like every coin, every chart that has ever done something like this or like this always dumps. And it didn't. It just broke out. At this point, it was good to go. And we made new highs. And then we had a dip. Again, people freaking out. And we get a big bullish engulfing. And now we moved up. Almost made new highs on DeFi. I don't think we did on MEXC, which is the main exchange for this right now, MEXC. But regardless, we got the bullish engulfing. Price looks really healthy. And then we had a very similar situation after this bounce. We had a nice dump and a bullish engulfing on the 4 hour. So it looks like we're just going to push to new highs. So Welsh looks amazing. It's my favorite coin right now by far. I'm not married to it by any means, but it has become something I believe very strongly in. You know, I do think that excuse me. The first meme coin on Bitcoin is probably going to run very hard, as well as the first dog coin on Bitcoin, mainly just because there's so many Bitcoin maxis, a boatload of money just sitting there that refuses to trade Ethereum and Solana and AVAX and all the other chains because it's not real crypto, man, only Bitcoin. But they also had to watch meme coins go like 10,000x last cycle. Now they can stay on Bitcoin and buy a meme coin, thus Welsh. So looks great. Clearly a lot of demand for it. Chart looks amazing. If you're just trading it around, I mean, you definitely don't want to see these levels lost, right? Right now, I would not want to lose 3,700. And if we make new highs, I would not want to lose like 5,000. But I wouldn't trade this around too hard. A bunch of people traded this around, thought they could get cute, and everyone thought they'd rebuy these lows down here. And most of them missed out on this whole move. And now they're not going to want to chase, and so they're going to miss out on the next move too. So, trade cautiously, right? Don't get cute with it. Probably better off just to diamond hand this. That being said, transparency-wise, of course, I'm in, like I said, from very low, and I have a lot of supply. So my game plan, as I've clarified for a while in Blockcircle, is I'm going to sell some at a penny, at 2 cents, 3, 4, all the way up to 10 until I'm out, maybe a third or half of my bag. And then another third up until like 20 cents. And then after that, it'll just be kind of a trailing stop, I think 20 cents is like $2 billion market cap. And again, what I'm talking about, guys, top 100 will probably all be 5 to 10 billion. So while 2 billion seems crazy, it's a meme coin, $2 billion is way too much. Well, Bonk hit almost 2 billion last year during an accumulation year or bear market, whatever you want to call it. So I don't think 2 billion for the first meme coin on Bitcoin is too much. If it even makes top 100, and look at how many, there's like 6 or 5 meme coins in the top 100. And there's one? It's Doge's not in there anymore. Well, there's 2 in the top 20. So there could be 3 in the top 20, and that would have, even right now, would have Welsh at 50 cents. Some say it's exuberant. Maybe it is. But like I said, I'll be taking profits here, all the way up. But I'll still have some to sell up here because I move slowly. Anyways, Welsh, it's goated. If you don't want to hear about it, you probably just want to mute me on Twitter. Next up's Ethereum. For those of you that have been in Blockcircle since last July, we scooped this up very cheap when it was still Blockbank. I don't even remember the price, something like 3,000-ish or something. So still up like 40 to 50x where we got in. And that's why I've been pretty happy to TP in this range. whether it's going to move higher or not. And I do think it'll move higher. I think this has potential to be in the $1 billion range. But my business partner is not a big fan, and he has weight in my portfolio too. So, I decided to take some off the table. Still rocking like a 15-20% moon bag, which is still, quite sizable for me. And I would like to trail this out as long as this trend continues. I intend to keep a piece. How much of that? 10%, 5, I'm not sure yet, but I do think their app has a lot of improvements that need to be done. First off, their customer service is terrible. It's extremely slow. Um, I mean, it's just taken so long for them to get back to us, which is weird because when I KYC'd last year, it was very quick. It's like same day. And now my business partner, client, whatever, is trying to KYC and just days go by, we hear nothing. And we've got funds that we withdrew days ago that have not moved. They have not been withdrawn. So it's like, what's going on? That to me is not a $1 billion platform. Not yet. Also, they have a crypto debit card. That's really nice. You can't even fund it with crypto. Like you can only fund it with euros. What the fuck is the good in that? The whole point of the debit card is to be able to spend money without having to sell a bunch of crypto. Let me fund it with crypto. Hello. So I think they got a lot of work to do, but they've got good connections and they're very focused on being regulatory compliant, which is very important if you're going to have a lot of eyes on you. I'd wager a lot of their competitors that offer some of these better features and less restrictive KYC are probably not regulatory compliant. So the fact they're focusing on that is very nice, and I do think it does make them worth more than it's sitting at now. So still a fan of this one. Probably not my top 3 anymore, but still really like them. So, we already talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm not going to talk much more about it, but the chart does look really nice. Broken out of this little downtrend that we were in for the last couple of months, starting a new uptrend here. Ideally, we would now respect this general range high from 6 to 7,000 if we pull back and make a higher low in here somewhere. That would be very positive. And then do a wave 2 up to like 001 and maybe 1415 before consolidating again, maybe in the summer. Another one that Blockcircle has been in for a long time. I think I mentioned this at like 2000 was the first time. So we're setting up a nice 35x on this one. Super good. I'd still hold like 80% or something in my bag, 85%. Still very exposed to this. One of my biggest bags, probably my 3rd biggest bag in all of crypto. Maybe, yeah. I think my EMC bag is a little bit bigger. So my 3rd biggest bag behind EMC and Welsh. Looks fantastic. Really excited for where it's going to be going. Yep, all looks really nice. Sorry, I just got a text. Ampleforth. I'm not going to go into my whole thesis here. I've done it plenty of times in the private streams. I've posted about it in Discord. If you guys are interested, you can join there and check it out. But I do think this is extremely undervalued. The market cap chart for this is porn. Absolutely beautiful. I've been printing on it. The rebases have been amazing. And the best part is it's basically like a stablecoin position with a little bit of volatility. When you're trending below $1.11 or whatever it is, you're going to get negatively rebased. You're going to lose a little money. And when it's trending above $1.25, you're going to gain a little bit of money. And so far, I have been nicely up between my negative rebases and the positives. I'm sitting up pretty nicely. So I do think over time, it will spend more time above the mark, positively rebasing, than it will below. And eventually, I think it'll go on a killer run, thus making this chart look like this again. So very heavily exposed there. One of my favorite positions in all of crypto. I think the guys behind this are Gigabrain. They've been around since 2020, and the chart remains doing what it's always done. So Super cool stuff. EMC, again, we also talked about this earlier. This is kind of an AI, DeepIn, real world asset, GPU, like monster project. The project is incubated by Wang Shang, which has Vitalik as their like chief scientist. So they've got a really strong team. You know, they got a lot of connections. I think their product is going to offer a lot and is extremely high quality. Much like a very similar bag NMT, their fully diluted value is crazy. I don't know how NMT is not showing their true fully diluted value. It's kind of like, I don't know how they do it. EMC, I wish didn't have to show theirs, but it is what it is. I don't think it's going to stop it from ripping, just like I don't think, you know, tens of millions of coins coming to NMT is going to stop it from ripping either. Um, you know, by the end of this year, this market cap at this price should be about 300 million, I think, right now. And EMC at the end of the year, this market cap should be about, do some simple math, 130 million. So this is about 130 million. This is about 300 million. Again, top 100, I think, should be 5 to 10 billion by the top of the bull market. So, and I think these could both be there. So right now, NMT's chart looks a little bit better, but I still think that this is very healthy price action. And really, this is two people. This guy who sold here, and then this guy who's different, but you know, just some early buyers deciding to get out, just like this guy, just like this guy, just like this guy, just like this guy, and this guy, and this guy. People just want to take profits. Nothing wrong with it. I think this is probably from here down to like a $1.40 is probably a good dip to be buying by early March. My 2 cents. Scans. This is I don't even know much about this project. It's like an AI auditing project or something. They've already done thousands of audits or something. Really nice. Chart looks really clean. Oh my gosh, my mouse is going crazy. Chart looks really clean. Non-stop higher highs and higher lows. Super healthy. Could genuinely see this going to $1 plus, $100 million plus. Looks really good. I'm in from like 2 cents or something. So sitting cheeky. Didn't get a chance to mention this to Blockcircle, unfortunately. Kind of felt like they were capping when I first read about them. They said they had like 2,500 audits or something. I was like, that sounds like cap. So I didn't make an official play, but looks good. One of my favorite AI projects up there with Aegis, which is doing something very similar, albeit not performing quite as well. But I think Aegis will be catching up pretty hard to this sooner or later. As we get to these smaller ones, my smaller exposure bags, I'm gonna spend less and less time on them. Dog is actually still a pretty big one. If you guys want to read about why I like this coin, I would go to Cryptopathic on Twitter. His pinned tweet basically fully explains why I think this could be huge. Basically, a leverage bet on Doge with actual real ownership of something. Rep buy, just the AI agent marketplace play. I think it looks really simple. There we go. I think it looks like a really simple, strong trend. Nice little price action here. As long as it maintains this kind of stair step up, I'm happy to be exposed. I don't have anything crazy target wise for this. You know, I'd be happy with 100 million for my size and then leave 20% for the big picture. That'd be fine by me. Lunar, this is Kakon's rebrand. In general, GambleFi, CasinoFi, it's just not super hot right now. I do think it'll have its time. I've diamond handed this one since June. I won't be touching it anytime soon. If it nukes out, so be it. I'll charge to the game. But I'm putting my faith in. Excuse me. Putting my faith in my brother Barney. I think he can take this to new heights. M0, kind of GameFi marketplace S exposure. Real world kind of real world asset combined with GameFi. I think it's a super good project. Um, Blockcircle, we're in from like 5, 6 cents, something like that. So we're sitting up, nice 2x or something from here. Looks good. I genuinely think this could easily go to hundreds of millions of dollars. No problem. So I'm diamond handing this one. I'm not looking to sell really anytime soon. Probably 50 cents is my first major target. VEC and BTC, Ponzi's of my portfolio. Both, I think, extremely undervalued. VEC in particular, I think, is going to go ballistic. I would not be surprised to see this go on an ohm-like run. I've seen a handful of people saying that so far, and I have to agree with them. I do think that at least one or two Ponzi's will go really hard this cycle. And I got a feeling of VEC and BTC, one of these is going to go really hard. Hopefully both of them. But I bought pretty high on BTC. I bought in like low 80s. So I pretty much bought the top of this and then sat through 70% drawdown. But every step of the way, my average cost has been coming down and down and down. And it's getting pretty low. I think it's in the 50s now, or maybe 60 or something. So I'm not far away from being back break even. And I mean, I could average down. Like I was talking in Blockcircle, it looked pretty good here. I put enough in, and it was slowly averaging down with the APY. I just didn't feel like adding more to a Ponzi. So eventually, I think by the time this breaks out, I'll probably be break even in the 40s or low 50s. And I could easily see this going to like 500 bucks or something. So I think VEC is a more high quality, legitimate project. Still a Ponzi, if you ask me, but of better quality. Anyways, happily exposed to both of those. Peas I really like. I haven't gotten exposure yet. I just don't have the cash for it, but I've been wanting to scoop that in the low 3s. Just I don't have the money for it right now. DexTF, talked about this on the last stream. I still really like the project fundamentally, but I don't think if I was not in this, I would not get in right now. I think it's very high risk. Having lost its daily uptrend, making lower highs and lower lows now. I think at least until you can reclaim like 30 cents. At least until you can turn this downtrend back into an uptrend with higher lows and higher highs. At least 20 cents. I would really think 30 cents is probably safer. I wouldn't really want to touch this. I'm holding mine because I believe there's a pretty good chance my average entry is like 13 cents. I think there's a decent chance we don't get there and stay below it for long. But I will say near term, I would totally understand people wanting to exit because pretty big level to be lost. Hold on. My girlfriend is here. But yeah. Looks pretty rough. There's another bag here somewhere too that looks like I think it's Dua. Yeah. Pretty much the same structure. Really nice, steady uptrend all the way up. Took some good profits on this one though. Didn't take any on DexTF. Maybe a mistake, but I don't know. When you get a chart like this, I don't really want to take profits at all. I don't want to. I'm not trying to capture here to here. If that's all it does, it was a failure investment. I'm trying to capture here to here. This is the thesis. It either does it, or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, well, that's why I only invest what I was willing to lose to zero. Right now, it's looking like it doesn't want to do it. So I wouldn't buy in here if I wasn't already in. And then do is the same thing. Had a really nice uptrend. We got in here back in the 2-3 range and taken some good profits since then. Really healthy uptrend. But now we've gotten lower highs and lower lows after losing all these support levels. So I wouldn't want to touch this here. I do think this is a high quality project. And I like what Brilliance is building, but Chart doesn't look good. I think there's way better looking charts right now. At the least, wait until this trend is reclaimed and this new downtrend is taken care of. Above 10 cents at least. If you can get a big candle like this and a higher low after, then I think it looks fine. But for now, looks kind of shite, mate. PRTC, this is like NFT-fi stuff. This is just a buy and hold for me. I think the quality of this project is great. $3 million market cap. I know Kronos from WooTrade is in this. You're basically betting that this is just going to be a range, and someday it'll break out and go a lot higher. I've bought at 10 cents. I bought at 15 cents. I bought at 8. I bought at 12. I don't even know where my average is. Somewhere in the middle, lower half of this. If I make a lot of money, I'm happy to add down again. I just think this is a very quality project and is extremely slept on. Like, most people don't even know what it is. But I wouldn't buy this expecting to make bank in the next month or two. But if you're comfy, like, just picking some up and betting that NFT if I will pick up sometime later on, I think it's a solid bag. I don't think Kronos is picking up garbage. Good stuff. Aegis, again, similar play as Scans, like a AI auditing type stuff, security, whatever. Solid project. Chart looked pretty garbage for a moment, but now it's taking care of business and it's back in an uptrend. This is what you want to see basically on the last two, DUA and DexTF. You want to see these near-term downtrends reverse like this. This is the decent point to get back involved when you started to get back above the lower highs and lower lows, somewhere in here, or even just here. You don't have to capture this move. All right, it's okay to just hop in after a breakout and try and catch the next higher lows. And I think that's what Aegis is going through right now. Whether it's here or maybe it goes a little bit lower, maybe it does like an ABC, it bottoms out here at like 6 or 7 cents. It's fine. Unsheath, long-term play. I know they got, this is an LSD-Fi play. Whether you believe LSD-Fi is going to actually come back, the whole liquid staking derivative stuff, I think it will. I think LSD-Fi and restaking, all that stuff, I think is going to be very popular. Especially when big boys realize how much yield they can get from pretty much just being in Ethereum. I think platforms like Unsheath will be very popular. Again, much like PRTC, it's not something you buy if you want to take profits next week, next month. It's something you buy if you're comfy holding for a long period of time for a potential move like this, where once it takes off, it's probably not just going to come back and give you a second chance. Once it really takes off, it's probably going to be gone. I know the Layer Zero founder is a big fan of Unsheath. Does that really mean anything? Nah, I don't know. But I like this one. It's really illiquid, but it's also really cheap market cap wise. So I've been accumulating over the last few months, and I'm tempted to buy more right here, but I'm pretty much out of cash. Like I keep getting back to just emergency stables, and that's once again all I have right now. Maybe I TP some Fideum and have some extra cash, but if I don't do that, I'm just sitting on emergency stables, which I've kind of vowed not to spend unless we get a big nuke on Bitcoin. I'm not talking the typical 20%. If we get a 20% in a day, okay. But I'm talking like, something we have not seen yet this entire cycle, which we've seen 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%. If we get either a 20% over like 2 or 3 days, or if we get a 30% pullback, that's where I'll use my emergency stables. Until then, I want to keep a little bit of stables on the table at all times. Which means if I want to buy something new, if I want to add to these bags, I got to take profits somewhere else. So yeah, I want more Unsheath, but I don't really have anything else I want to take off the plate right now. So I'm kind of just letting it ride. But this is definitely a good level. If you're not exposed, I mean, it's been here for many months. This is kind of your buy zone. If you're trading it around, this is your profit zone. I'm not personally trading this around. I'm looking for a big expansion. We made bank on this back in 2023. Pretty much caught this entire move from, I think it was 15 cents up to like 80 or something like that. I don't think I sold the Pico stop, but I sold pretty well. Um, I think this looks good. Guardian AI, really like this play. Just had a nice double bottom recently. It's basically like AI virus scan, decentralized virus scan, basically. I think it's good. I don't think it's my favorite bag by any means, but I think it's really solid. As long as we can keep making higher lows in front of this double bottom, this looks really good. Anything below 4 is going to look pretty bad, but I'm pretty light size on this one. I'm kind of just playing the bigger picture like the weekly. So as long as we can come up and make a higher low somewhere, I'll probably stay exposed to this one. I think it looks fine, but ideally in front of $4 to $6. Try. I think this is the only project that's doing what they're doing with like managing produce and stuff. They've actually got some good revenue potential lined up. This is another one kind of like scans where it was never an official play. The founder was happy to get me in early. I was like, why not? It wasn't free tokens. I don't take free tokens for anyone that is wondering that. I've always been clear in Blockcircle. I never take free tokens. Anytime someone wants me to be a KOL, I always buy tokens. I don't know. I like having my risk on, and 9 times out of 10, too, if someone wants me as a KOL, I will just market buy a boatload of tokens too. Like Creso. Oh shit, Creso. It's just two big sandwiches, man. What a bait. What a bait. It's about a retrace. Lame. Hey guys, MEV blocker. Okay? MEV blocker. If you're not using this as your RPC, I don't know what you're doing. I've been using this for over a year and I've not gotten sandwiched one time since. I don't know if it's infallible or anything, maybe someday this gets exploited. I don't know. It's like, maybe someday Uniswap gets exploited. I'm still going to use it, but if you're not using some kind of MEV protection, you're just getting eaten alive. So definitely consider using that. Anyways, how do I get rid of this? Why is it showing me? How do I get rid of these buys? Oh, there we go. Like I was saying, if I'm a KOL for something, I just like to buy my own tokens. Like to have my own risk. Like I know a lot of Creso, there's some Creso KOLs got free tokens. Not me. I'm happy to be a KOL for these guys because I like to support them. I think what they're doing is great. I think they're really got something beautiful here. So I'm happy to help them, market and all that. But I bought my own bags. And the same with Pry. I bought my own bags, but I never made it an official trade because honestly, I don't know. I mean, y'all tell me. Like, is this something like you really want to be super hard on? Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't know. But the chart looks good. Low key. The chart looks good, and they're slowly starting to build up revenue and 24% liquidity to market cap ratio. And Lick is locked for a year. It honestly looks pretty decent. So I quite like this one. Some people might not. It's a 0x Ellie project. Some people feel some type of way about him. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm his biggest supporter or anything, but he's happy to include me in his projects, and I'm happy to support him as long as he's not doing any shady antics. As soon as he does, I'm not about that. But chart looks good. It's a very unique project. I don't think it's gonna be as hype as AI or meme coins or anything, but it is technically AI, so there's that. ASG, I did buy some more of this at like 3.5 or something. This is basically my only Beam exposure. Beam is like the chain straight for GameFi or something like that. I think it looks pretty good. I think this is what it's Neko something. Neko's Gaming or I think that's what it is. Nekoverse, that's what it is, yeah. And so ASG is the token for their game system or ecosystem, whatever, and it will also give you, I believe, whitelist or airdrop for Neko's token when it comes out or something like that. So I have some of this, not a big bag, just something I kind of like, and a little extra GameFi exposure on top of my block game stuff. And then Index. Now, this is one I think is actually really slept on. Again, I've gone into detail why I like this in Blockcircle and on previous streams. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it now, but I will say a lot of VCs bought this from $20 to $30, and a lot of them puked it, but some of them didn't. Meaning the ones that bought in at this level think they can get out above that level in the future. Some of which include Coinbase, bought in at $30, I believe, and they are still holding. Meaning, they likely think that it'll return at least to $30 again, which is about a 10x from here. These guys have connections with ETFs. Seems kind of big brain. And it's already on Coinbase. It's $30 million market cap, pretty much fully diluted. Kind of big brain, guys. Definitely worth looking into it. Okay. Girlfriend. All right. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and then GTX, we already kind of looked at this one. I don't think we need to talk about it. This is basically just another kind of Creso competitor. I think it's like you're able to use any Visa card, any debit card or credit card as a crypto wallet. So really cool concept for getting everyone to have access to a crypto wallet, because everyone has credit cards or debit cards. Everyone. Like, I would wager 99% of people that live around or near you has a credit or debit card. So I think GTX is a good project. 10% liquidity to market cap is really solid. Get some, I think, IBM guys working on this. It's good stuff. Good stuff. And that is the Blockcircle lineup. Again, I got a good number of other bags that I haven't talked about. Like, we didn't talk about Chlor. I think Chlor is really solid. This is another competitor with EMC and NMT and Render, all that stuff. These guys already have a boatload of GPUs accumulated, thousands of them. I think it's 15,000 GPUs or something. And you can basically use their GPU power without having to own the GPUs. So super good project, in my opinion, very undervalued. Factorn is a new proof of work project coming that uses factorization or something like that. I can't remember the details, but super gigabrain project. I think this is going to be $500 to $1,000 this cycle. I'm freaking diamond handing this. I got my 1% of supply. Another one, SMH, I think is pretty big brain. We originally bought this in Blockcircle on the first move up at like $2, and I bag held down to $1, and then I doubled or tripled my bag or something. I think I quadrupled it around $1.30 to $1.50. So sitting very pretty on this. I also think this is one that's going to go to $50 to $100. I think this is going to be a big mover. And then I have Space Chain. It's another Bitcoin L1/L2. Chart looks very similar to Chlor. I think this is going to have a big move up eventually. I have a little bit of space, but I'm mainly invested in MSP, which is basically the Uniswap of Space Chain. My mouse is so messed up. What the heck? Will this ever catch as a layer 1, 2 for Bitcoin? Maybe not. Maybe it will. But I wanted some exposure in case it did. I think it looks pretty solid. And that's pretty much the lineup. Again, there's a few different ones here and there, but I'm not going to cover everything. But looks solid. Some guys want me to look at 0K, and that's fine. We look at 0K, and I don't have any more of this. Just based off some info I got that did not sit right with me. But it looks fine. It's just ranging. It's still just ranging, right? You got the range high here. You got the range low here. You fiddle with the range low a few times. What you really want to see from this is a reclaim of the middle of the range, right? Right now, we're trending in the bottom half, which is not good. But if we can trend back in the top half, it's going to start looking really good again, and maybe then we can talk about a breakout. Supposedly, there's been a lot of good updates from them. That looks pretty good. I just didn't like that we weren't really getting anything of substance. Like, apparently some guys are behind the scenes and saying things look great. Got some other guys behind the scenes that say things don't look so great. So, I don't know. Who do you want to believe? It's up to you. Personally, I happen to actually be the lowest buyer on this chart right back here. So it was already a really big trade for me. And maybe it'll be a big whiff. Maybe it'll come out in 3, 6, 12 months. I could have gone from, instead of cashing out a 70x or whatever it was, I could have made a 500x. But fact of the matter was, there's some things that made me not so positive about it. And your boy has to pay quarterly taxes. Quarterly taxes are coming up. I could either cut, 5 bags that I kind of like, or I can cut one of my bigger bags that I didn't really like that much. And I like most of my bigger bags. The only one I didn't like that much was 0KN. So unfortunately, it had to get cut. But I still think it looks okay. Again, you really want to see some actual developments public, not just, hey, we're doing this, we're going to be doing this. Like, I want to see some proof that they're actually doing it. And you really want to see a reclaim of the mid range, right? You want to see trending above like 2,200. Things would look a lot better. Below here is not so good. Better buyer down here for sure. But you'll be a lot more confident once you can actually be trending above here again. Okay. Let me back up a little bit. I'm not sure if you're still here, Couscous, but I have seen people talking about ODGN, so we can take a look at it. I don't believe I know what it is. I know it's pumping, but I don't know what this is. ORDGen, I'm guessing it's something to do with ordinals. What is this? It looks like a BRC20 DEX, a BRC20 cross-chain aggregator. So that's pretty nice. I mean, I personally do not want to have to go to a centralized exchange to get from EVM to BRC20. Currently, I use Rocket Exchange, which works fine, but maybe this is a better alternative. So, I mean, there's definitely room for a product like this. And at $4 million market cap, 10% liquidity market cap ratio is really solid. And the chart looks good. I mean, you're in a very steady long-term uptrend. Long term, I mean, it's only been a month, but as long term as you can get with a brand new chart, right? This looks positive. And with something this low, I don't think you really bother with TA. If you like the project, I would stick with it, right? This is positive TA, but even if it's doing this, right? If you like the project, stick with it. Not for me. I don't have room for it, but for sure, Bitcoin L2s, BRC20, one of my top 3 narratives for this cycle is DeFi on Bitcoin. And we need plenty of avenues to get from EVM to BRC20. And right now, they're very limited in those options. Maybe you guys can enlighten me on some. I think OZK was doing something like that. And right now, I use Rocket Exchange, which works fine, but it's like 25K limits per order, so it's not great. But being able to go straight from ETH to BRC20 is definitely something that we're going to need as Bitcoin L2s become prominent. And they are becoming prominent. So it's a good narrative. Any thoughts about pair? We can look at it. Is that pair swap? Look at it. Another reason for stables are taxes. In my country, you don't need to pay any tax from crypto unless you leave it in fiat. That's true. And so you're looking at the pros and the cons. The pros are you're not actually holding fiat. You're holding an obligation to pay, that your stablecoin is technically worth $1. But is it really? We trust that it is, and we hope that stablecoins will always be stable. But you're basically just trusting a centralized agency, which is the same thing as holding real dollars. But I'd rather have the backing of, the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve than just some random stablecoin provider that we're just trusting has one-to-one backing. At least real dollars, you're going to lose money to inflation, but you will also with stablecoins. And at least, you're only going to lose all your dollars if the federal government collapses, which if that happens, I don't think most of us are worried about that shit anyways. You're screwed. But that's true. If you're worried about taxes, then yeah, hold some stables. But for me, If I'm sitting in stables, I am a click away from gambling my winnings. If I cash out to the bank, I at least have to transfer. I have to make the conscious effort to go to my bank and make a bank transfer back into crypto. And I can tell you, I have not transferred from bank to crypto in like 5 years since like I've gone from crypto to my bank plenty of times last year, even last week. But I have not gone from bank to crypto in I don't know how long, since 2019 maybe, maybe 2020. And so it's a lot easier to not gamble away your winnings when they're not a click away, one swap from stable to gambling. So if you're super responsible, disciplined, you know you're not going to be doing that. Stablecoin's probably fine, assuming you're okay with the risk that we don't really know if we can trust stablecoin providers. We don't know if the government will ever come in and say, "Hey, the Federal Reserve wants to launch a centralized digital bank, a centralized bank digital currency." So every stablecoin provider is now blacklisted or whatever. We don't know if that's ever going to happen. If it does, stablecoins might go to zero or might be outlawed. If that's the case, stablecoins are worthless. So there's pros and cons to it for sure. Personally, I just accept taxes. If you're going to have a lot of taxes, set up a corporation and take a lower tax rate. It's the best you can do. But if you're paying taxes, it just means you're making money. So I kind of just accept it at this point. Don't like it, but for me, it's very important that I get money to the bank. That's the goal. I can't send money to my parents, my siblings, my girlfriend, her family. I can't buy a house if I'm sitting in stables, you know? So pros and cons to each for sure. As far as pair goes, I think this looks bad, honestly. You had a really nice trend going here, nice uptrend on the daily, and then you started making lower highs and lower lows. At this point, you should cut it. Unless you're just in for the big picture, in which case you're pretty much just bag holding, which is fine if you really like the project. It's only 5 million, so plenty of room for it. But personally, the chart looks really bad. Hasn't been able to get any traction. Hasn't been able to make any higher highs. Still making lower lows, lower highs. Doesn't look good. You got to at least clear like 8 to 10 cents before I'd be confident in a new uptrend. But for now, it's just more of the same. Doesn't look so good. Amino. I think we've looked at this on stream a couple times. I don't remember what it is though, to be honest. Ooh, looks good. I mean, big picture doesn't look great, right? You've been in the big picture downtrend, but near term, it definitely looks like you're starting a new uptrend with some higher highs and a higher low. So that's positive. I think you've got pretty clear risk reward. You know, tight risk back to your lows, good risk reward back to the highs. Good enough, pretty good liquidity, honestly. Usually $12 million market cap, you don't see as deep liquidity as this. That's pretty good. Reward a healthier lifestyle. I've never been big on this kind of narrative, but we saw how big Steppen and GMT and them went last cycle. So honestly, there'll probably be one this cycle that's like health oriented that goes crazy. Steppen went up a freaking bajillion X. So I could see another project like that going crazy. Probably decent exposure. Not one of my favorite narratives for sure, but I think it's probably worthwhile to have some exposure. Ah, Metal X. Yeah. Sorry. I know some guys in Discord were asking about that. I don't know what this is though. Is this GameFi or is that Metal? Decentralized Commodities Exchange. Ah, that's kind of big brain. Oh my gosh, what is this chart? This chart's sick. Fully diluted is a bit crazy, but again, big picture, this is pennies. Surely this is on a centralized exchange, right? Why is liquidity so bad? 400K for 14 mil and 150 fully diluted is pretty shitty. But I like this. The idea of this is very nice. Using Fetch AI, that's all. I like Fetch. All good stuff. No LPs, good. Fuck LPs. Zero slippage, great. Screw slippage. Chain agnostic, only way to go nowadays. Decentralized, only way to go nowadays. I mean, yeah. I mean, it looks solid. I mean, clearly there's plenty of interest. I mean, I don't think this is the kind of coin you trade around. If you like what they're doing, I think you're just kind of sitting through these kind of bumps. As long as you can make a higher low in here, I think you just kind of stick with it. It did pump 500% in what looks like 2 days. So, you know, you might need a little bit of a cool off period, but all in all, this looks pretty solid. As long as you can hold a higher low somewhere, you know, in the mid low twos, I think it looks fine. Hearing eights for month of March from Mac. Mac's had some bangers. People don't like him because XYZ reason, but guys had some bangers. I'm guessing this is not. Is this a centralized exchange coin? Fetch CEO took over the project. 80% of supply locked. Very nice. Is that locked for like, 12 months or like forever or what? I mean, regardless, big picture chart looks very juicy. Assuming it just does the same pattern again, you're probably looking at something like this. I think it looks solid. Ace looks really good too, as far as centralized exchange coins go. Once you clear this, it's off to the races. You get a nice, strong uptrend going on here. Anything above like $11, this thing's probably going to be a quick pump. This looks solid. I think XAI looks a bit better, but it's also a bit more progressed. This basically looks like XAI looked back here. They had the same kind of structure, and that went pretty hard. So yeah, I think at least a 2x is probably in the cards for this one. I'm sure it's super liquid being on Binance. Hold zero. Wonder if I'd like to go in. Are you talking about? Are you talking about pair? I don't know. I mean, I'm not familiar at all with the fundamentals, the team, the tokenomics, or anything. The chart just looks bad, and sometimes the best winners are bad looking charts. Look at Aegis. I mean, this chart looks terrible, and it just pumped like 10x off the lows. So I just think it's really high risk. I'd rather just buy stuff that's that already looks like this, is already trending, as opposed to stuff that like you have to gamble on whether or not you're buying the low. When you could be buying here, you can be buying here, here, here. You just don't know. I'd rather miss out on some bottom gains and buy something that's already turned the corner. And at least then you might make less percentage than if you got lucky and nailed the bottom. But at least then you have confidence you're buying in a trend. I don't want to buy here necessarily, but something like where Aegis is right now, right here, or even a little bit lower. If you buy some here, and then you can buy some either at these spots or at like this spot here and here. I'd rather do that than just trying to buy here, here, here. Like it's just too high risk. Unless it's super close to zero and you just really like the project long term. If you really like pair long term, it's what was it, $5 million market cap? I mean, it's basically zero come big picture bull market. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm getting sleepy. Might need a nap. Or shower to wake me up or something. Oh, oh goodness. Well, folks, I think we're about to wrap up here, though. It's been about 2 hours. I said I'd go about 2 hours, and that's about what we've done. I think I hit most of what you guys wanted me to hit on. I probably missed a few questions here or there, but that's pretty good for a public stream. For those of you that aren't in Blockcircle, I mean, we would love to have you. We're kicking ass in there. It's only $100 a month. I think it's totally worth the money to invest in yourself. The value offered there is just disgustingly higher than $100. I mean, it's not even funny. So we'd love to have you. If not, I'm always on Twitter. You can always hit me up if you have any questions. Try to do a public stream every couple of weeks. Sometimes I am a little bit late, like this time, but Block Circle, we do a stream every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and constant updates throughout the week. Got a bunch of degenerates in there just kicking ass. So, for those of you in Block Circle, I will be back for stream on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Oh, Build AI. Yeah, I'll check that one too as a last check. I saw you mention that earlier. Check that out real quick. I've seen you guys talk about this in Block Circle too. I've never even seen the chart though. I mean, come on. What's there to talk about? It's up only. It launched at like 5 cents and it's just straight up. I don't think there's really much to say. I mean, chart looks fantastic, obviously. Anything that's just going straight up like this looks really solid. Website's kind of a shit show. Like, why is all this stuff just scattered? The website's terrible. I can't tell what it does. Maybe it's just bugged? No, it's not. I just can't scroll over. Is this like bundle where you can just like create your own token or something? Get started. Telegram bot creation. Okay. I mean, that's pretty cool. A lot of people, the whole Telegram bot meta is a little bit overdone right now, I think, but I wish I could read all this without being off the page, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. As far as the idea I think is fine. I don't know how the token is useful. I'm guessing it's some kind of revenue share or something. As far as the chart goes, I mean, there's not much to talk about. It's, it's literally just straight up on the daily, on the 4 hour, and on the 1 hour. At $3 million market cap, I don't know how much, you want to give, how much weight you want to give to technical analysis, but, this is kind of your current trend going on. As long as you can stay above this level, 25 cents-ish, things look fine. Ideally, you keep making higher lows with each new high. Keep it simple. If you're really a big believer in the idea, though, I wouldn't really care. I would just be focused on the daily. As long as you can keep making higher lows, big picture, then, things look chilling. Clearly, someone likes it. I mean, if you're in from the ground floor, 5 to 10 cents might be worth booking your initials at least, but, trade it how you want to trade it. Clearly, there's a boatload of demand coming in on every dip. So I think it looks fine. I'm not going to say I'm crazy about the idea, but I think it's a good enough idea to go on a nice run. And there's a lot of buying and selling. So there's clearly a lot of eyes on it. It seems hype right now. That's good. But I think I gotta take a little nap or something. So I'm gonna bounce out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you found the stream entertaining and educational, all that good stuff. All the glory to God as always. Thank you, Jesus. So happy to be here. I love doing this every day. I mean, I can't imagine a career anything like this. So thank you so much, Jesus. All the glory. Thank you to you guys for being here. Once again, Block Circle. Catch you guys on Wednesday. If you guys ever have any comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, I'm up a lot. So just hit me up on Discord. If I don't get back to you within a day, just ping me again. You can spam ping me if you want. I try to respond. I'll never ask you for money, obviously. Always double check links. I'll never send you some scammy link. Not intentionally, at least. Outside of that, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful start to your week. Trade smart, trade safe. Here's hoping we get a good breakout on Bitcoin. And I'll catch you guys next time. So peace out. Take care.